All right, folks, welcome to the Split Bill Daily Interview. Today's our guest is Mr. Will Kimbrough. I'm very excited to have Will as our guest today, and I don't know a lot. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I know, have known of Will for many years, and discovered who he was by reading the liner notes of a Todd Snyder album, and then later I got to open for him one time at Shuba's in Chicago, Illinois. And I'm going to get started with a song. I played this, I think, the very first day that I did the interview, but I really wanted to do it again, and so I'm going to, because it's my show. I can do whatever I want, right? I should say that the reason that I'm playing this and I like it so much for this time is because it started out as an angry song, and I was angry about waiting for a train, and that anger had been building for some time. But if you listen to the song as it progresses, it's sort of got a Zen quality. I believe it's got kind of a Zen quality, and the last verse really kind of, to me, it feels like the situation that we're in with this quarantine or isolation or whatever you want to call it, and hope it makes you feel better. I'm parked right here in the middle of the road. My hands grip the wheel, my head's about to explode. No one to talk to, and there's nowhere to complain. I'm just stuck here waiting on this forever train. Where's it going? Where's it been? Is it headed home or rolling out again? When it finally makes it to the end of the line, it'll pull into the station right on time. Radio's busted, my phone is dead. I'm stuck here with me all up in my head. I look in the mirror and I stare into my brain, going nowhere, waiting on this forever train. Where's it going? Where's it been? Is it headed home or rolling out again? And when it finally makes it to the end of the line, it'll pull into the station right on time. Someone in front of me and people in back, all nodding along to that clickety-clack. Separate all together here on Lonesome Lane, counting the cars on this forever train. Where's it going? Where's it been? Is it headed home or rolling out again? When it finally makes it to the end of the line, it'll pull into the station right on time. No matter when it reaches the end of the line, it'll pull into the station right on time. There you go. That's the Forever Train, folks. Brand new song from Bill Poss.
I like the Forever Train.
Thank you, Will. I appreciate that. That's means a lot coming from you. How are you?
I'm good. So it's like 40 degrees. It was just snowing here a minute ago.
Snowing in Nashville in April, huh?
Yep. Yep.
That's crazy. Yeah, we were out. Sorry?
Apocalyptic. Can you hear me?
Wow. Yeah, you sound good. Okay. The microphones only pick up one person at a time, so
or one dog at a time.
I can hear your dog. What kind of dog you have?
It's the neighbor's dog.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But I have it in a cage here. No, I'm kidding. But no, it's
right on.
But our dog passed away 2017, and was just running around like crazy since then, and now we're trying to get a dog during the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I wish you luck.
Thank you.
We
all need luck during the apocalypse.
A companion, apocalyptic companion. Yes.
Yep.
I've got a bunch of cats here. You can have a cat.
I have a guitar.
Yeah. Well, that's always a welcome companion.
Yeah.
As I mentioned in the beginning, I've known of you for a long time, probably 20 some years. I got my very first residency gig in the Virgin Islands because I played the guy. I had moved to St. John.
Yeah.
And I was looking for like a regular gig, and this one place that had a gig every Saturday night. And so I went and talked to the guy, and he said, "Well, get your guitar out and play some songs." So I played some John Prine and some Bob Dylan and some things. And he liked it. He said, "Do you know any Todd Snider songs?" And I said, "I know a couple." So I played something or other. I don't know what it was. And he said, if you can play the Roots Grunge Blues, you can have the gig. And I said, "Well, I can't today, but I can tomorrow." And so I went back to my tent on the beach.
I can't today, but I can tomorrow.
Yeah, so it worked out real good. Anyway, I was looking through the liner notes on that record, and you were on that record, right? The Songs for the Daily Planet.
Yeah, I'm on quite a few Todd Snider records.
Yeah,
produced a couple of them.
Okay. Did you tour with him? Did you tour with him?
I toured with him only from 94 to 98 full time.
Okay, that was about that time. What songs of yours did he cover?
Well, we wrote Horseshoe Lake together. We wrote Rocket Fuel. We wrote I Am Too. I wrote Godsend. And we wrote a song called The Very Last Time that's on Stoner Fables.
Right on.
So that's quite a few.
Yeah, that's more than I knew by a long shot. You guys must have had a good relationship for a long time there.
Well, we've been in a professional and friendly relationships since about 1993. So yeah,
that's wonderful.
27 years.
So I'm going to give a little bit of background for folks who don't know, and you can correct me where I'm wrong. But
sure.
But I think that Will has.
I'm kidding.
Sorry. Will has toured with Rodney Crowell, and Todd Snider. We mentioned that, and also with Emmylou Harris.
Yep.
And you've produced records by Todd Snider and Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, and Radney Foster and Steve Poltz.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We had Steve on here last week for Split Bill.
Yeah. Produced his latest record, recorded it right out there in my garage.
Is that right?
Yep.
That's fantastic. I did not know that. I think I knew that and forgot it now that I'm thinking about it. And then you've had songs covered by a lot of folks, including Todd Snider, Jimmy Buffett. Who else has covered?
Little Feat.
Oh, Little Feat, one of my favorite bands.
Jack Ingram, Kim Ritchie, Gretchen Peters, and I don't know, whoever else.
No, not really. So it's always amazing when you get covered by a great songwriter, right? I mean, like Kim Ritchie, for example, really great songwriter.
Yeah, well, we wrote a song together, so that was actually not really a cover, but she put one of our songs on one of her records. And
right on.
I think Gretchen Peters covered that song, so she's a great songwriter who covered a song that I wrote with Kim Ritchie.
She sure is.
Feet record a song was amazing, and having Paul Barrere sing it, who's now passed away, was especially moving for me as a lifelong Little Feat super fan.
Right, they're from. Well, I don't know where they're from, but I think of them as a southern band, southern rock certainly. They were one of our family, like one of the bands in that my family, everybody liked them. So like my dad, my mom, my brothers, we all grew up with with Waiting on Columbus and that stuff.
Yeah.
So I recently saw you. The most recent time I saw you, I was on my honeymoon.
Right.
In down in Punta Cana for the John Prine All the Best Fest.
Yeah.
And we didn't know you were there, but we were walking up and Amy Lou Harris was singing. And I said to JJ, my wife, I said, is that Will Kimbrough playing guitar with Amy Lou Harris? And she looked at you a couple of times. She said, I'm going backstage. I said, no, you're not. Stay where you are. So you didn't get attacked by my wife because I stopped her.
Sad.
Well, what a treat to play with Amy Lou Harris. That must be something, huh?
Yeah, I've been doing that off and on since 2011. So it's been almost, coming up on 8 or 9 years of playing and singing with Amy Lou.
Wow, that's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. Well, you're like a window to the stars here, Will. And if I had it my way, you'd be a star. But I don't even make any small decisions, much less big ones. But people are asking for a song. You want to play a song for us?
Yeah. And I'm going to play the one that you requested first.
All right.
I Like It Down Here, the title track to my latest album. And I also like to give props to Songwriting with Soldiers, which I'd love to talk about. And but I'll do Like It Down Here. This is a song for all the friendly misfits out there, particularly in my home region of the Deep South. I'm from Lower Alabama. We call it LA. You might have heard of it. So I'm going to do I Like It Down Here. She asked me when the bad luck stopped. When do we rise to the top? It's awful hard work pulling up the rear. She said, now honey, don't you want to be a big success? You can buy me a diamond and a wedding dress. I leaned in close and I whispered in her ear. Said I like it down here with the hobos and the drunks. I like the hard-bitten rabble with the leaving trunks. Blood in my mud and sawdust in my beer. I like a wake-up call at 1:30. And if I had a job, I would get it done. I can catch real fine trash fish off the pier. Yes, I like it down here. But she rolled her eyes and she bit her lip. And she let her skinny backbone slip. She lit her chest to field and she church keyed another beer. Yeah. But she smiled and said, I must admit that I always did like a man with grit. Then she slapped my face and she called out with a sneer. She said, I like it down here, boss, just as much as you. I like the Bill's water and a bus tub stew. I got a 3-legged dog and a one-eyed buccaneer. I like my homemade wine from Scuppernong. I like smoking guns. I like drinking songs. Big steam trains with drunken engineers. Yes, I like it down here. Yeah, I like it down here. Yes, I like it down here with the hookers and the whiskey priest. I like the fat chain pullers and the shiny beats. Street life lovers with a tattoo of a tear. I want a woman with a face like a question mark. You know she cleans up good when it's nice and dark. In a railroad flat with a monkey called Belvedere. Come over here, Belvedere. Yes, I like it down here. I like it down here. Woo.
I can hear people clapping all over.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love that song. Well,
thank you.
You've got solid fans like Faye Brown out there who's saying that I should quit.
Faye. Hey, Faye.
I should quit talking about your collaborations and talk about your solo stuff. I was just setting everybody up. So, but I'm a huge fan of that record, especially. Made it into my rotation, and I listened to it as much as anything else last year. I listened to that record.
Thank you. It turned out great. I'm really happy about it.
You had a very odd set last year at the Moccasin Creek Festival.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Had a good trumpet player.
Oliver Steck, yeah. Right. Oliver Steck was our secret weapon going into last year's festival, and
my band, Stuck with Steck.
Stuck with Steck?
Mm-hmm. Our new band.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
So for those who weren't at Moccasin Creek Festival, it was raining like a son of a gun.
Yeah.
And so we just invited everybody to get up on the stage with the bands, and Will played his set in the rain. I mean, he was covered, but then Oliver Steck jumped up and played a trumpet and accordion through the whole set, and it was a special.
Gym shorts and a t-shirt wrapped around his head, and no shirt. I mean, it was salt of the earth.
Yeah, man, that's Moccasin Creek Festival right there. We had it. It was an exceptional set. It was a magical set as far as I was concerned. JJ and I
was full of joy.
Cool. Yeah, you seemed like you were enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
So Aaron says that was super special. I remember. All right. And last year I was bragging that we had, it was the 5-tool players. That's what they call the people who play baseball and who can do it all. You know, we had Daryl Scott, and we had John Fulbright, and we had Will Kimbrough, and I was like, all these guys. A lot of people didn't know who you were from Moccasin Creek. A lot of people did, of course.
Yeah.
And same with Daryl and with John, and it was a magical year in that regard. That there was just so much music. You know,
yeah.
A lot of times you get a songwriter who's great, or you get a player that's great, but that was all of it in one.
Yeah. You know, as much as all of us that are lesser known would like to be more known, it's also very heartening to see scenes that are very dedicated to the people that they love. Because, I mean, it really is. I mean, I'm from this Nashville scene, but also the Lower Alabama scene, and and the Gulf Coast world, which, you know, New Orleans, Mississippi, Mobile, Northwest Florida, and, you know, you don't just get to be part of a scene automatically, because people are faithful and supporting the artists that they love, and that's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Every time I come somewhere new, I want to, you know, break into the scene and get asked back every year. But also, I understand and I appreciate that people are dedicated to their artists that they love.
Yeah, well, you got some very, very loyal artists around here. I'll tell you that. The Davises from Belleville just lost their minds when they heard that I had booked you.
Cool.
You were sort of a late addition, and then I got to come and see you at Mike Zanger's place in
Right.
Edwardsville, and those are the people you're talking about. I think those ones. Cindy vocal up in Urbana or Champaign, Illinois.
Yeah.
Played up there. So I'll give a shout out to those folks who are keeping the torch lit. You know.
Yeah.
So you were talking about the songwriting, the shirt that you have on.
Songwriting with Soldiers. Yeah, it's just been Songwriting with Soldiers is an organization that promotes storytelling and creativity with combat veterans in particular, particularly people that have been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress, and so it's I guess you'd call it active therapy, although I'm not a therapist, and we're just the songwriters brought in by people who are in the therapy business. And it's been an amazing thing. Let me tell you, I've been writing songs for over 40 years. And to have a new reason to write a song and a new purpose for songs is amazing. After 40 years of just writing, you know, thinking of myself as a songwriter since I was a young teenager. And it's amazing to have a new reason to do it and a new purpose for those songs. And it's given me a new lease on creative life. I mean, I love what I do anyway. But
Right.
This is actually where you finish writing a song, and the person you wrote the song with says, "Man, thank you for listening to my story and listening to my nose is running. It's 40 degrees out here, but I'm suffering from my art." But really, it's amazing. It's an amazing program, and there's a concert that's online. You can stream it. It was on PBS. Actually, it was nationally on PBS in the fall, and it was beautiful. But the main thing is the one-on-one, where you listen to someone's story and listen to their words, and you make a song out of their words. You don't use your own words, but use your skills as a writer to put it together as a song. And
is this the same program that Mary Gaucher is involved with?
Yep.
Okay.
That's part of how I got to know about it. I played on that album, Rifles and Rosary Beads. And so when we were in the recording sessions for that, we were at her house, just set up a makeshift studio in her house. And she would tell us the story and then play us the song. And then we'd wipe away all the tears, and then we'd start recording the song. So it was a fantastic experience. And I had a similar experience that same year with Sam Baker. I don't know if you know Sam from Austin.
Yeah.
But I played on Sam's record, and he was telling the story of how he, got injured back in the day, which is just an amazing, epic story, and his recovery story as well, and his journey through, pain and post-traumatic stress and physical pain and addiction to sobriety, and telling it all as a story. So that all happened in like 1 or 2 months, where I worked with Mary and then worked with Sam, and then Mary called me, Radney Foster called me, and Darden Smith, the founder, the songwriter from Austin, Darden Smith, also the founder of Songwriter with Soldiers, they all called me and said, "Would you be part of this?" And I said, yes, 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 to everyone. And so that was 2017. So I've been doing it ever since.
That's wonderful. Yeah. We had Jamie Harris on here yesterday.
Yep.
Jamie. You must know her.
Yep.
Yeah. Connected to Mary Gaucher, and I know about it primarily just through Mary, but I'm glad to hear all these great artists are part of it.
Yeah. Daryl's part of it. Gary Nicholson, Beth Nielsen Chapman, Radney Foster, James House.
Wow.
Bonnie Bishop, all kind of good people, doing it. Good writers, great writers.
Well, it sounds like you get a lot out of it, but I would say thank you for doing it too, because it's probably it's a service to our community.
Well, I get a lot out of it, and I think that it's just an amazing thing. It's an amazing communication between civilians and military, because we've written with children of killed in action soldiers, written with spouses, written with couples, written with groups, written with individual soldiers. I recently worked with a group of all women combat veterans, and at the end, and we wrote a song with me and 8 combat veteran women, and that's an intense energy there in a circle. Me and 8 that have been in combat. I'm listening to everybody's story and writing things down, and then I'm like, okay, this is what I think the song might be, and start singing it, and start talking it through, because you're actually co-writing.
Right. Wow.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, can we get another song out of you?
Yeah, let me play one I wrote with a soldier. I'll do this song called "Pillar of Peace," and I wrote this with Cliff Richardson, who's a retired Green Beret, and was in combat off and on from his teens, until he retired recently, and he's just a warrior. But this is what he said to me, and I just wrote it down. I didn't add any words to it, so it's pretty amazing. Oh, wow. So let me see if I can do it for you. It's called "Pillar of Peace," and just to set it up for you, we're out in Arizona at this ranch in the middle of the Coronado National Forest, right on the Mexican border. So we're out in the wilderness of the high desert, beautiful place. And I've just written with my first soldier. It was a very intense experience. And then I went and recorded that song and ate lunch, and then I met Cliff, and then we sat down outside by this little pond, and I said, "What's going on with you? How did you get here?" Prompts that you give people when you're in a creative kind of exercise. I said, "How'd you get here to Songwriting with Soldiers?" And he said, "I've been all over the world. I've seen it from the bottom of the sea and 20,000 feet, and I just want to be a pillar of peace." And I started writing it down, and 3 hours later, excuse me, we had the song.
Wonderful. I look forward to hearing it.
Here we go. I've been all over this great big world. I've done what I've done the best that I can. I've seen men be cruel and unkind to each other in this beautiful land. We spend a whole lot of time just fooling ourselves. Can't see the forest for the trees. If we really look deep, most everyone knows that you got to be a pillar of peace. I've seen the world from 20,000 feet, and I've seen it from the bottom of the sea. I thought a whole lot about what it means to be free, and I want to be a pillar of peace. And if we look past our differences, I know we'll see a whole lot of good all around. Nothing is forever except for the earth, so I keep both my feet on the ground. You know, a good man, he don't have to be rich, and a poor man don't have to be bad. Well, a wise man's knowledge isn't in if he shares everything that he has. And I've seen the world from 20,000 feet, and I've seen it from the bottom of the sea. I've thought a whole lot about what it means to be free, and I want to be a pillar of peace. You know, things don't always go my way. Life's not all about me. But you know, if we all work together, sometimes we would all be pillars of peace. Life was meant to be loved. Life was meant to be lived. Life ain't meant for regret. Good friends and family and lessons we learn. Oh, I don't ever want to forget. I've seen the world from 20,000 feet, and I've seen it from the bottom of the sea. I thought a whole lot about what it means to be free, and I want to be a pillar of peace. Yes, I want to be a pillar of peace. Oh, I want to be a pillar of
Wonderful song. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So,
thank you.
You probably don't recall this, but the first time I met you, I opened for you at a place called Shuba's in Chicago. And it was a gig that I'd been trying to get for some period of time. And actually I had quite a few people come out to the show that day. And I probably played up to that time with the best set I'd ever played. You know, I love to play a 25-minute set. That's just like my dream gig. Is what I did for years. But I was so excited after I got off stage, and my friends were so excited, and they were you know, congratulating me. And then you came on and played, and you did that alien thing where you totally erased anyone's memory of me, and I was just transfixed. It was, and I hate to sound like a fanboy here, but it was really a great show. And my friends were like, "Did you actually play that show?" I don't remember that, you know. but you were very kind, and I think you actually came and listened to some of the show that I played, and you were very kind to me. So I want to say thank you for being just a kind person.
I'm still trying to get Shuba's again.
Is this still even open? I don't know.
I don't know.
Well,
it's hard to get this big city club gigs these days. It really is hard.
Well, you can definitely,
because you know there's plenty of gigs and there's plenty of people that want to hear good music. So
yeah,
I was in Australia right when this, you know, coronavirus thing broke out, and we had to come home early. We were having a great tour in Australia. My wife and I went, and I played a couple of festivals, and couple of gigs, and I played about 5 gigs, and I had 5 more to go, and then we had to come home. But we had some great times, and so things are going. Things really are going well, and that's really heartening for me that things can go really well for you in music, and a lot of people don't even know about it, and that's the beauty of art and writing. Or I just worked on a new Jimmy Buffett record that's coming out, and I co-wrote 4 songs on it, and
what's that like working with him?
it's a blast. I mean, this is the 6th record I've done with Buffett in a row over 17 years. So it's a really long relationship as far as, music and showbiz is concerned. 17 years, I'm not even in the band. But I mean, I'm an honorary Coral Reefer. He puts that on every album, but which is cool. So I've now got, I will have 15 songs I wrote or co-wrote on the last 5 Jimmy Buffett records, and 1 record I worked on as a assistant producer on a reissue of song, or an issuing of songs that had never been released from 1969. I helped work on that.
How did that come about that you had this relationship with Jimmy Buffett?
Well, I'll tell you, I was playing with Todd Snyder, and he was on Margaritaville Records when Songs for the Daily Planet, and then the second record, Step Right Up, were both on Margaritaville. And so we played at Tipitina's one night in 1996. And so Todd Snyder and the Nervous Wrecks are playing at Tipitina's in New Orleans, and Jerry Jeff Walker is there, and Jimmy Buffett's there. So it's a big night, and backstage at Tipitina's, which is about the size of this porch, it's very small, and very ratty, and like a backstage should be, like a couch you really don't want to sit on without some penicillin, big cooler full of hot water and an empty beer floating upside down, but there's like 200 people back there because, the band is back there, and Jerry Jeff and Jimmy Buffett are back there. So everybody wants to party backstage, but there's really nothing to party with. It's just a bunch of people crammed up against each other, and I'm backed up against the wall, redneck mother. And right next to me is freaking Jimmy Buffett. And I say, I said, Jimmy Buffett, I'm Will Kimbrough from Mobile. And he said, oh, you're another escapee, are you? And I said, yeah. And so a couple of years, well, let's say 5 years later, 2001 or 2002, I got a call from Jimmy's niece, and it was a friend of mine, and she said, my uncle was asking about you last night at dinner, so I'm going to give you his address in the Hamptons, and I want you to FedEx whatever you've got. At the time, I had 2 solo records and a record by the Biscuits, and a couple of songs on Todd's record, so I put together a package. I FedExed it to Sag Harbor, and I didn't hear anything for months, and then a few months later, I got a call from like the Jimmy Buffett, Incorporated offices. And it was like, Mr. Buffett would like to cut these 2 songs. Is that okay? I said, yes, that would be great. And then I didn't hear anything back. I thought, well, I guess they decided not to do it. And then I got another call, and he said, Mr. Buffett would like you to come to Key West for the recording sessions. And so I said, yeah. And I made it happen. Canceled everything, went down there and played on a record called License to Chill. And that record had a song of mine called Piece of Work on it. And he didn't record the second song, but that's part of the story. So the last day we recorded Piece of Work. And anyway, the record came out, and it was #1 the first week in the Billboard country and rock pop charts. Sold over 1 million records, 1.5 million records. And my song was on there. And but at the end of the sessions, we had a little, nice dinner at the end, and I was clinking glasses with Billy Payne from Little Feat, and who had played on the record. And I said, man, what an honor to play with you, Bill. I've been a Little Feat fan, and also know that you played on those James Taylor records and those Bob Seger records and those, blah, blah, blah. And said, it's just an honor. And he goes, well, I really like your song. I really enjoyed it. And he goes, why didn't Jimmy cut that other song of yours? And I said, I don't know. I'm not going to be greedy here. I got a cut. I'm happy. I'm really happy. And he goes, well, what if Little Feat cut that song? And I said, okay. So they cut a song of mine called The Champion of the World, and the late, great Paul Barrere sang it. And so, yeah, it was just a great experience. So I met Jimmy really through Todd and through Jimmy's niece, who's a friend of mine. So,
well, that's a great That's that's a great story.
Yeah.
And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. You want to get us another song? I'm trying to squeeze in 2 more songs.
Yeah.
You can
Okay.
play one now, and
Yeah. I'll play
uh,
a piece of work. And might do it in a little. Yeah, I'll do a piece of work for you. Uh, this is the song I wrote in the bathroom at Baptist Hospital in Nashville, the bathroom of the neonatal intensive care unit while my youngest daughter was getting big enough to go home. She was a premature baby. She's doing great. She's a freshman in college, going to college on her laptop right now, right behind me. And probably being annoyed by my sounds. But she was born. Her big sister was 5. And we went and spent the night before she was almost big enough to go home to get her to gain that extra ounce or 2. And sure enough, she went home the next day, and now she's a freshman in college. But I couldn't sleep that night. I was so excited about my second child coming home. So I went in the bathroom and I just played mind games and wrote words down that rhymed and opposites, and I wrote this song called "Piece of Work." And
cool.
this is the first song Jimmy Buffett ever recorded, and he changed our lives. So here we go. I'm a piece of work, I'm iron and lace. I'm shy right up there in your face. I'm all dumbfounded, stubborn as an ass, and I'm sharp as an arrow in a pile of glass. I'm a sweetheart, a genius, a reckless jerk. Said, Lord have mercy, what a piece of work. Well, the Lord made me on a long thin limb and made sure I'd remember him or her in the middle of a long dark night. Creation crazy, this sheet white, made in the image of a lion shock lamb. I am who the hell I am. Ever, better, bad, the worst is down. The letter, I'm a piece of work. I'm a piece of work, I'm an angel's fiend. I've been bathed in lavender and gasoline. Scared, fresh, shallow, and an ink black well, lightly brown in the fires of the hell. And a wicked, holy, full-on fake. Best known for my big mistake. I'm Zen, white, peaceful, gone berserk. I said, a good God Almighty, what a piece of work. I'm a dreadful sight and I just don't care. Well, it's been all morning pulling out my hair, and I walk along with the crazy thrill. Half the day trying to glue back in, and Mother Bloody Mary, please wipe that smile right off your knees. I'm the CEO of the mailroom clerk. I said, a good God Almighty, what a piece of work. Well, said I'm a piece of work, I'm a lovesick boy. I'm a cloth cap, caviar, and corduroy. All over the map, but just lost in space. Filthy mind and a choir boy's face, and the heels held head down straight on through. Watch out, woman, I'm against you. I'm a gladiator with the mind to earth. I'm gonna see you a little later. I'm a piece of work, man. Piece of work. I'm a piece of work.
That sounds like a lot of fun right there, man. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yep.
Sorry. I feel like I'm out of center. So do you still play with the band Willie Sugarcaps?
Sure, I do.
Who does that include?
Well, I'm the Willie, and then Anthony Crawford and Savannah Lee Crawford are Sugarcane Jane, so that's the sugar, and Grayson Caps and Corky Hughes are the caps. So we all came together at this place called the Frog Pond at Blue Moon Farm in Silver Hill, Alabama, down on the Gulf Coast. And a woman named Kathy Steele runs this fantastic house concert. It's similar to Mike Zanger's situation, or even a Moccasin Creek. It's just like a little mini festival every weekend during the good weather, during the fall and the winter and the spring in the Deep South. And she just put us together in the round. But by the end of the first song, we were singing like 4-part harmony and playing on songs that we didn't even know. Like Grayson would say, this one's in G, and we'd start playing. We'd all listen and learn and figure it out sort of improvisationally. And so after that gig, we were all hanging out that night having a drink or whatever. And this guy that runs a festival down there said, we ought to get your band on that festival. And I was like, which band? He goes, this band. And I was like, well, okay, it's not really a band. He goes, we'll just call it Willie Sugar Caps and we'll book you. So we did.
Well, that worked out. Nice.
It's great. It's a wonderful thing to be part of. And it's the kind of band that you can, not see each other for 6 months and then show up and play a show. And it's just as good as if we had practiced, because it's not about that. It's about like finding your way. It's kind of like if the Grateful Dead was sort of a Deep South acoustic band,
Right on.
Which maybe the Grateful Dead at some points wish they were. I'll tell you, Willie Sugar Caps are what the Grateful Dead wish they could be if they wanted to be really poor and really obscure. Okay.
So I should send a plug out to Moccasin Creek Festival. This Split Bill Radio Hour is brought to you by POS Music Works, which is the not-for-profit that presents the Moccasin Creek Festival, the Summer Sundown Music Festival, and the Wonder Down Music Festival, which all happen. Well, 2 of them happen in Effingham, and 1 happens down by Carbondale, Illinois. We also present shows throughout the year. The only show that we have currently booked, in fact, is a Steve Poltz show on December 1st. But we'd love to get Will Kimbrough up for one of our shows sometime.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. And I also want to say that the rest of the week, schedule for this week is tomorrow we have Cody Dekoff, who's Chicago Farmer. And if you're a Todd Snyder fan, you might have seen Chicago Farmer touring with Todd Snyder about a month or 2 ago down south. Then on Thursday, we have another 5-tool player, Mr. Robbie Folks will be here. And I'm trying not to be nervous about that, because he's you know what I mean? He's a little intimidating. And then on Friday we have from the Mighty Pines.
Smarter than everybody.
It's crazy. Well, he's hard to talk to a little bit in that way. Like you mention something and he's just like, oh, did you know that his great grandfather would invented the steam shovel. Then on Friday we have Neil Salsich from the Rising Stars in the jamgrass scene, the Mighty Pines, and so we'll do that for the rest of the week. And next week, I don't know who we have yet, so we're still working on the schedule, but it's going to be great, I promise. Someone told me I should get more girls coming, so it's mostly guys. Good. But we'll do that. So I run out of things to talk about just at this moment, but we lost the great John Prine last week, and I went through a pretty dark hole there for a minute, and I suspect that hole was probably very big in East Nashville.
East, South, West, and Southwest Nashville as well. So North Nashville.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Just below. I'll tell you. First time I saw John Prine was 1977, and then one of my first dates with my wife was to see the Biscuits, my band with Tommy Womack and Michael and Grimy. We were on John Prine's label. The Biscuits were on Oh Boy Records, and we played at the grand opening of Oh Boy Records in Nashville, like 1993, and then John played a solo set sitting on a hay bale on Music Row in a parking lot. And I will say I've seen him many, many times, gotten to play with him in the studio and on stage. I'm so thankful I got to live in the time that he lived. But he was the most charming human that ever lived that day. And then, we made a record for his label, went on tour with him with Todd as Todd Snyder, the Nervous Rex, as an opening act. Been around him with Emmy Lou, gotten up on stage with him many times. His longtime bass player, Dave Jakes, is a member of our band Daddy.
Oh.
I played on countless records with Dave. good friends with Jason Wilbur. Fats Kaplan's been in the band. My longtime drummer friend Brian Owings, who I played with Emmy Lou, and in the Red Dirt Boys, we were in the Bushmen together and played on countless records. He played with Prine when Larry Adamaniak wasn't doing it. So it's a really tight-knit family around here. Of course, also we got to say David Olney passed away in January. Yeah. He's my across-the-street neighbor.
Oh, wow.
Street over there, David Olney lived. And so, yeah, we've lost a lot of lost Bill Withers. So, but John Prine was huge. My friend in New York, my friend Rob Trucks, put it well. He said, I feel the sadness and anger is the amount of sadness and anger I'm feeling is something I've never felt before. And, but I mean, I have to temper it with the joy of having, just as a fan, it would be enough to have seen Prine as many times as I did. But he came and sang on Shamika Copeland's last record. She cut Great Rain. John came over to sing a little guest part, and he was like, "Well, let me sing a duet with you. Let me do the second verse." And it was just, he was in a great mood, and we were there, Punta Clara as well, and so we lost a treasure, but we have a lot. He left a lot behind that we get to live with, and so that's the thing. So I'll do this John tune, good one for our times, and hope everybody stays safe and well, and wash your hands and be kind to each other. Don't get impatient if you can do it. Be nice, be kind, be like John Prine. So.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's a crooked piece of time that we're living in. All in all, and all in all, it's a crooked piece of time. Yeah. Born too late, we die too soon. Anxiety's a terrible crime. If you don't come now, don't come at all. It's a crooked piece of time. It's a crooked piece of time that we're living in. All in all, and all in all, it's a crooked piece of time. Yeah. Yesterday morning, an ill wind came. Blew your picture right out of the picture frame. It even blew the candle out from underneath the flame. Yesterday morning, an ill wind came. Well, that's a crooked piece of time that we're living in. All in all, and all in all, it's a crooked piece of time. It's a crooked piece of time that we're living in. Well, all in all, and all in all, it's a crooked piece of time.
I'm malfunctioning here, Will.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I hope to see you up here in Effingham one of these days soon. If not for a regular show, we'll get you for the Moccasin Creek next time.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Take care. Take care, bud. All right. That concludes our interview for today. Please join us tomorrow on Wednesday. We will have Cody Dekoff, a Chicago farmer. Many of you know and love him, and I can't wait to talk to him. And I know he's a Will Kimbrough fan, and I know he's a Robbie Folks fan too. So he's sandwiched right between two of my favorites, and he's one of my favorites also. So don't miss it. It's going to be a great time. I don't want to end my broadcast. There we go. See ya. What the heck?